Alrighty, and welcome back to round one coverage here at the Throw Pink Women's Disc Golf Championships. We're on to the back nine, Elaine, and it's been a blast to watch so far.
It certainly has. There have been some great throws and there have been some heartbreakers.
Yes.
And now we're going to the challenging back nine that, although we had some tough holes on the front, there were more short holes. We've got some punishers.
Yes.
On the back nine.
Hole 10, starting off that really murderer's row of 10, 11, 12, 13, even 14. This one, we are moving back to the MPOT this year, so it's a par 4, 549 feet. Really that horseshoe style of out of bounds strung along the whole thing.
Well, it's a hole where most of it's out of bounds and you have to creep around the edge to attack, like a sneak attack on the basket.
So I would imagine we're looking to see relatively safe backhands, nothing too much more than a fairway driver. I can't see anybody really trying to rip one.
Well, there's nowhere to rip it to.
Good point, good point.
You have to just lay it up there around one of those trees, preferably not behind the tree though, just around the bend so then you can really crank on your next shot.
Yeah, very much a second shot hole. Put yourself in a good position, ideally not behind a tree, like you said, and the second shot is where you're going to make your money here.
And she knew she had just swung it too far.
Really just trying to bite off a little too much, probably, and catch his lettuce. Macy looking to improve here. Ooh, it's a slow disc, so it should check, but...
It's not anywhere close to the OB on the basket side, but it was a little too close to the sidewalk OB. There we go. Owen is throwing the shot that is more classically taught, although it doesn't matter where you throw. You're always close to OB somewhere. There's no inbounds on this hole.
I was just going to say that. It doesn't matter. It's the perfect shot, and it still has to skip from out of bounds in. Macy now carrying out of bounds the entire way here. This is stressful.
Boom. She got a hold of that.
Good skip. Good late action on that one.
It was going at 5 million miles an hour.
Yes.
That was not going to stop no matter what it hit.
Oh, and I love it. Going back to back with the same disc. I love that.
Now she needs to properly shape the shot, get some anhyzer on it. Yes. Much better. We've seen Owen with throws that have been too short on many of the holes, and she can throw farther than that. She just hasn't been really cranking over on her disc. Of course, I would love to see her throw something slightly less stable and not have to crank over on it so hard, but
hey, that's Owen. That's her game.
She loves that throw. So Paige hit a little cabbage, but it looks like it's got plenty of carry. Yes.
It's so stressful on these holes where... Okay, establishing drop zone here. This is a different drop zone for the women than I guess, obviously, than the men, because the men, they just stick them right in the middle out of bounds. But it's... Actually, you know what? I got to give a shout out to Owen Scoggins real quick. I should have done it earlier. She came to San Francisco 2 weeks ago, my hometown, and took down the Safari.
Oh.
It was great. There was a 3-hole playoff. Catch it on B-Dub Pro if you want to watch.
Nice. Safari. Were there jungle animals?
Only the club members. It gets that way sometimes, though. No, it's a good time. It's our local tournament, and it's a bucket of fun. Haley barely getting it over the OB. I don't think I've maybe ever said that, but... Gonna take the bogey.
She's having trouble judging the distances and knowing just how hard to throw the shot. And it's hard to say, is she disking down and not throwing it hard enough? Or is she disking up and being afraid that she's going to throw it too hard?
Owen flopping it in there. Big putt. Let's get the momentum going. We need to see some Owen birdies after that tough front nine.
And speaking of birdies, Macy is just a short putt away from a birdie herself. Lovely. That's more like the putt. And I've got to notice that the flag is not moving. It is usually so windy on this part of the course. But fortunately, the women have had a reprieve while they've played this.
I love this basket. Can I just say that right now? I am like about the hot pink bands. It pops. What are you going to do?
Well, it makes sense for the Throw Pink Challenge.
Exactly. I love it. Yep. And this has traditionally been the Throw Pink hole, even before the Throw Pink Women's Disc Golf Championship existed. So this hole has always, or at least since I've been coming here, kind of always had that pink band on it.
Absolutely. And birdies for all the women except Haley, who takes a bogey. And speaking of Throw Pink, well, we can watch it while we'll talk about Throw Pink while we watch this diabolical hole. Throw Pink is a non-profit organization where the proceeds go to helping women who have had breast cancer.
Perfect. Love it.
And so it's a way of bringing disc golf and, you know, this charitable idea, bringing it together. And it's been a great introduction for a lot of women to what is disc golf. And they attend the event because they want to show support for women who've suffered breast cancer, and they discover disc golf. And they discover it's an awesome thing to do. So shout out to Sarah Nicholson, who founded Throw Pink. And we'll watch Paige Pierce throw a pink disc.
Now, we are, I would imagine, going to see 4 passive shots here. The OB, which is hazard on this hole, on the short end and on the left side of the green, you really have no, there's too much to risk to actually try and go over this or play it onto the top spine. With the shorter pin, I think it's a good option to throw down into this bowl, short of the hazard, and then really try and rip it on your second shot.
And these women will have played the hole. It's different than it has been in past years, and they'll figure out their strategy, you know, hopefully have had time to play it with some different wind conditions, because that really makes this hole different too. So a little bit more of an aggressive throw from Own there. I like that. That looks like she was throwing it in her usual style. And you'll see that enormous hedge
Gosh, that hedge.
It's enormous, but it can cut the wind.
Very true. It acts as a blocker, no question. Having said that, it can act as a blocker if you find yourself in it, and it's thick.
You want to be anywhere except in the middle of that hedgerow. And Haley,
No.
It's not in.
The broadcaster curse. We did it.
It's just a budding up there.
Macy, and you can see her hair, her shorts. The wind is a little bit picking up. We just saw it dead calm on 10.
Yeah, so once you get on the other side of the hedge, that's when you see the force of the wind.
Kind of skied it a little bit, but woof,
it's over.
Barely
it's over.
Cleared it.
Yeah, I agree. It seemed like she got leaning back when she threw instead of her weight over her toes.
Paige, though, I would say is going to get aggressive here. Boom. Oh, it's shaped up. Oh, wow, even a little short.
That's interesting. It's a tailwind. Well, it looks like it's a tailwind
Great point.
from the basket.
Great point.
The wind can be doing several different things on this hole.
Whew, that is a stable disc.
Yeah, no, that's what Own needed to be doing on a few of these other shots. So she's almost pin high. Oh, Haley did get way under that bush.
She's full stretch. This is like, get my bag away from me because I can't move it. There's nothing to be had here, though. This has to just be a little thing, right? Yeah. And that's a humbler. That's like, you really want to make an advance down the fairway, but there's just nothing to do. I mean, the OB's everywhere, hazard, I guess, in this hole, but just chip out and try and get your par.
And I mean, it proves your point exactly, Corey, which is why try and play along that spine of inbounds up there. Just play it short and safe and see if you can get something going on the second shot, getting it close to the basket. And if you can't, just pop it up there and take your 4.
Whoa, little into the wind there. Oh. So, obviously not the angle you want coming that down on that, though. The hyzer in, very real opportunity to roll into that hazard.
Ooh, and Paige gives it kind of a soft go. But see, now the wind is changing direction.
Yeah, it seems like every shot the flag's pointing a different way.
And that's what this hole is like, because the hedge blocks, so you can see the Coliseum blocks the wind. It comes funneling in between the hedge and the Coliseum, but then the ground drops. So there's the opportunity, if there's a headwind, for the headwind to come as well as a side wind. So it's a really weird hole.
It is so funny. We're playing this sport and we're just factoring in all this invisible stuff the whole time. It is so funny. Haley almost able to capitalize on the par from just outside the circle, but looks to be saddled with the bogey. She can make good on the shorty here. Macy tapping in the par. No harm, no foul. Yep. I think on 10, 10 you probably want the birdie, but 11, 12, 13, walk away from that even, and you're picking up strokes on the field.
These holes in the back nine can be so punishing, and we've seen in past years big scores from the women as well as the men if you don't play the proper strategy. And another thing is you can't be swayed by another player's strategy.
I think that is one of the most important notes at Winthrop is it's so important to play within your game plan and not get baited into throwing shots that you see your card mates throwing. If you're going to play passive. Just because they ripped a shot, it's okay. There's a lot of holes in between now and the championship.
901 feet, a nice, fun downhiller.
Yes.
For your first shot. And we're going to have to see how aggressive some of the far throwers like Paige and Haley get. But as you can see, there's OB, or is that hazard or OB?
It is OB on this hole, hazard on the one we just played. So if you are going to air it left off the tee, there is the possibility of finding that left OB. But really the big challenge is that OB that you're carrying to get to the green itself. That's where big numbers can really stack up if you're not careful.
And the women will want to get as far as they possibly can on this throw while remaining safe. And that sounds like two opposite things you're trying to do at once.
So it should be noted, this hole last year, when it was the Women's National Championship, did play from a slightly shorter tee as a par 4. This year, backed it up to the MPO tee, and now it's a par 5. So interesting to see maybe the score differential there from year to year.
Yeah, it was actually a pretty routine par 4 from the shorter tee.
Okay.
You really had a lot of different ways you could get the 4 without doing anything extraordinary. So this is probably a better challenge for the women.
So it is safe, that shot, but kind of precariously behind those hay bales there.
Yeah, you don't want to be throwing up immediately on your second shot if you can help it. I don't think that's over enough.
No.
That's too high. Well, somehow it carried.
Yeah, kind of just got caught up in the wind, though, and didn't really get a ton of forward distance. Par 5, though, so there's some throws to make up for that. Haley trying to go just large. Kind of lifting in that wind, though. Probably a similar, maybe like right to left headwind, because of the same from the hole before, but she got the distance anyway. That disc is smashed and overstable.
So now comes the tricky shot that you want to keep it safe, yet advance up the fairway.
There is the drop zone if you do find yourself in that out of bounds on your second shot, so should be noted.
Come on back. Oh,
Oh, wow.
gosh.
It is a game of inches, Elaine.
That is fully safe. Okay, that was not a full power shot, so Paige is going for control, but she's got a lot of spin, and the cameraman did have to turn around.
You can see Nate Perkins there on the left. He's shocked, too. That was a boom.
It did not look like she was really putting a ton behind
No.
it.
Ooh, come on.
I think it's high enough. Oh, no, it wasn't.
Kind of just fell out of the sky a little bit.
I wonder if it's somehow a tailwind.
It looked good. I thought it was good.
It did.
No, I'm on,
it did
I was
that.
on your
But
page.
you know what? The ground rises up in
Yes.
front of you really hard. That is quite a berm.
Yes. Honestly, great shot from Haley, though, from the drop zone. That drop zone, totally blind. Can't see a thing. So you're really just picking a point in the air and trying to execute your shot. Ooh. That's the first time
that's
we've...
safe.
It is safe, but that's like the first time we've actually seen her kind of burn one into the ground a little bit.
I think she may have been doing that a bit on purpose.
Just kind of playing it safe off
Yeah,
the left side.
exactly.
Okay. Macy. Oh, no, Macy. So she finds the out of bounds long, which means that she isn't going to... Oh, my gosh. Wait, does she have to rethrow?
That's the way it appears. And that's high as well.
Oh, wow, she does. Okay. Well, she's going to have about a 50-footer to save her 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 par.
And Paige playing this hole so well.
Man, that is brutal. A rethrow on the out of bounds long. It's very old school USDGC style.
It is. And I don't... That's a little punishing on a 901
I think
foot
so.
hole.
Stroke and distance really... Oh, Macy. Stroke and distance, I think, was much more a part of the game in years past, but in the more recent iterations of a lot of these tournaments, you're seeing it gone. And frankly, this tournament, the ratings actually don't count, and it's an X tier because of that.
That's correct. There are some funky rules. There's some funky, let's see, coarse paraphernalia, like those pesto mozzarella
Yes.
sticks and clown's mouth and all that kind of thing. So it's it would be fun if it wasn't such a serious competitive event. So
Some waivers involved. The hole 17 is the island. You'll notice there isn't any other island holes like that on tour. Now, not to be glossed over, Paige, beautiful surgical birdie there, picking up massive amounts of strokes on the card.
indeed, and yeah, she just played very controlled all the way down. It doesn't hurt that she's got great controlled distance.
Yeah. You can see there, Paige takes the 4, a 5, a 6, and a 7. Actually, that's a small straight. I'm putting it down for my Yahtzee score.
Hole 13. Now this is fun.
I love this tee shot.
Fun from the berm there. The far side is out of bounds.
Inbounds for the FPO.
Oh.
MPO is OB and across. The FPO is all inbounds up till the road there. I had to double check myself.
Okay.
I looked at the caddy books. I think in years past it might not have been, but confirmed.
Okay, well that will definitely change some women's strategy now that they
Yes.
can go on the other side of the sidewalk. And the wind is always a factor. It's so windy around the Coliseum that huge building really pushes the wind one way or the other.
Whoa.
Is that going to stop?
Paige
does.
was passion perfectly.
Oh, that was a good try.
Like that?
Passion perfectly.
I like my alliteration.
Perfectly passionate.
We'll get it by the end. So this is a par 4. It is a par 5 for the MPO division, and perfectly fine shot right there, though I don't know that she's going to have a great opportunity to cross the road on her second shot.
Yeah, I think you want to be on the other side
Yeah.
of that sidewalk if you can. It's not that far a distance.
A little bit too turnt at a Haley, but if I know Haley,
She might be able to do something
Yeah.
from under that tree. I think she's close enough to the trunk that
okay.
the branches may not bother her too much.
Macy looking to really get up in Paige land. That was pretty much the perfect shot.
That's a little more hyzered than Paige's was.
Yeah, a little bit straighter. Curious to see if she plays a little backdoor route. Yeah, we see Owen here. Gonna have to play the sidearm. Kind of scoop it around the bushes and then just chip it up.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of room, and anywhere there, you've got just a plain look right at the basket.
Yeah. Oh, Macy, come on.
It's coming. It's coming.
Okay.
Just
I
relax.
had
Relax.
doubts.
I know that disc. It's coming.
It's a beast. Probably some sort of Lucid X Enforcer or something. Haley, you said it. Your branch is not really bothering.
And she can always skip it off the road.
Oh.
And why wouldn't it skip on the grass?
That was
of course.
Perfect. Wow. And in years past, there has been a pin on that little baby peninsula.
Yeah, that's a little
diabolical, in my opinion.
Well, a little fluky, I would say. And that's long. She almost found that little culvert there. But yeah, Paige wasn't going to land short on this one. She wanted to get all the way over.
Yes.
So now it's just a putter shot for Macy.
Get over there. Oh, ooh. Kind of aired it out a little bit.
Well, although it's hard to tell you, both she and Owen are at height.
Mm-hmm.
So they're throwing downhill. That was a much better executed shot by Owen. It's really easy to overcook it.
Yes, very true. And, I mean, again, you're throwing over out of bounds. That can't be understated. It's not a comfortable throw. Paige now from 75. You know she's giving it a go. Yeah. Take the 4. Move on.
And for her 4, we see Macy line up about a 20-footer.
Yeah, let's go. This is a momentum putt. Come on. Oh,
Yes.
Hearted it. Earlier in the round, she had some makes that weren't confident. They were kind of sliding off the left and in. That one on the pole, low.
And Haley for birdie. Again, only about 20 feet. And such a comfortable swing. I love the way she putts. She swings her arm right from the shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
She takes all the elbow out of it, all the, squatting, whatever. It's just a very simple, clean movement.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very much using the big hinge as opposed to the multitude of small hinges to make the putt.
Exactly.
So the birdie for Haley does get a stroke on the card, and that's nice after the 3 straight bogeys. Get back on track because 14, 15, 16, they're not easy, but you could find some birdies at least.
Yeah, this is a kind of a fun tee. There's that tree that we just saw. You have to go way around it one way or the other.
Yes.
So depending on whether you want to do backhand or sidearm, you choose which way you're more comfortable, and it's downhill to the basket.
It's funny, too, because I think both of these trees have grown a little bit compared to last year. Last year, there was a clear hyzer gap that you could really shoot it out. I don't know that it's as clear as it was in years past.
And yeah, Paige caught a bit of it.
Not loving it, Paige.
And Owen has
Get up
found
there.
air, but
Oh,
you have to keep it high.
very true.
I mean, it might just be a fact that the maintenance crew has not trimmed up these trees the way they have in the past years. Because the trees, I don't think, grow that much in a
Very
year.
true, very true. Maybe Jonathan Poole had something to say about that.
So Macy with a low skipping shot,
Ooh,
and it
Perfect.
settles, 15 feet from the basket?
I like the sidearm play a little bit better. I think it plays into the green, accesses the green a little bit easier than just crushing it down the hill.
It absolutely does. It's coming around, so the disc is checking because it has to swoop around, whereas the backhand, the disc is still, got a lot of forward momentum, and it's just a matter of how much spin you put on it that will have that checked up. Yeah, Owen was trying to go for a putt. She obviously was not convinced as she let it go. It just didn't even get basket height.
Yeah.
But it did zip almost to the edge of the circle, and that's going to be a triple putt for Owen.
Yeah, so fortunately her first putt didn't find a hazard, so she isn't going to take the stroke, but still likely to be saddled with a bogey here.
And Owen really loves putting, just loves it. And she's such a good putter. It is atypical for us to see so many putts that she is missing.
Macy, quality birdie, though. Picking up 2 on Owen and a stroke on the rest. She's happy. She's loving it. I mean, you get a birdie at Winthrop, it's a good day.
Well, it's a fun shot. If you've got a good sidearm, there's a lot of room around that left side. And you can play it high and around, or you can play it low, as we saw Macy doing it. So, as you were saying, the backhand definitely has a lot more stuff in the way.
Yeah, absolutely. So the sole birdie by Macy, along with the bogey by Owen, a net even for the card, but is going to push us to hole 15. Another extremely unique hole out here at Winthrop. Not quite as much of a U-turn as hole 4, but has a similar characteristic, just maybe the other direction this time.
Well, we've got the triple mando, so the women will be looking to get cleanly through that triple mando. Then where they lie, they're going to have to figure out how they can get a disc to go into this dark, murky forest. You can barely see the basket. It actually isn't, super far into there, but you definitely need to approach that basket from the left side.
Yeah, I think very much a straight shot. If you get a little bit of a left, that's great. This is exactly what I would prescribe.
She could not have really asked for too much better a place. Maybe a little bit of hyzer if you were really starting to push what you were asking for. Hyzer it so it comes back towards the tree line, but getting it through that triple mando is important.
Get under. Oh, nice. Oh, wow. Haley.
That's
what we're just talking about.
A bit better.
So at 467, really it's not a distance showcase. So make the triple, and then it's really just about reacting to where those trees are in front of you and how you're going to play it.
And that's looking good from Paige. How stable is that disc? Not too stable. So she remains well past, well short of that tree line.
Oh, I think that's one of those 10-year buzzes. Oh, I'm jealous. I want one. It flies so nice. Oh, whoa. Does unfortunately miss the mando there. So she is going to go to a drop zone, which is very tricky. It's outside of the first set of trees and the second. And the third, actually.
Well, that was well executed. And a good skip, and she may have a little look at the basket.
Circle's edge, maybe?
Maybe a bit.
Yeah, a little bit out.
A little bit out.
Yeah.
And the wind's picking up here, too.
Yeah, you can kind of see those leaves falling off. It's fall. It's officially fall.
It's a tough wind because, even if it hadn't hit that tree, she's going to want more height with a tailwind, and it's impossible to get height from that far back.
Yeah.
Now, no matter where you are, if you're short of that tree line, you've got a little bit of stuff to work with, but Macy is so beautifully centered through the gap, and she hits a little bit of stuff, but that gives her a very good look at the basket. Haley got so far through. It's, again,
kind of sawed it off, and you can see how thick these trees are. You really want to be left of the basket.
Yeah, Paige is showing the example there of not a sidearm, but she threw an understable disc, which curled nicely through the big gap.
Oh, this is
Lean
for
to the
par.
left. Lean to the left. That's. She went through.
No, she didn't.
She went through.
She drilled it. Oh my gosh, Owen Scoggins,
I
everyone.
can't believe she did that.
That's like a putt in your practice round. You're like, you put her on the outside. You're like, let's try it for the second putt. That was incredible. Oof.
Oh, that was so close from Haley.
I can't get over Owen getting up and down from the drop zone. That is so good. Paige, great too.
Beautiful putt.
Great four, but great as well. You caught me. You were going for it. I saw you over there.
And Macy lines up a birdie putt.
She's had a confident stroke, so let's see. Taking her time.
Looks like it's nice and sheltered from the wind in here. And that was short. Yeah, you could see I don't think she bent her knees enough from what she usually does.
The legs are free accuracy. My man Ian Anderson from Central Coast says it all the time. Free accuracy down there. So, I said that. not all pars are created equal, because that was a crazy way to get all the same score. Miss
Exactly.
Amando up and down from the drop zone, short miss putt, but everyone's neutral.
Hole 16, just a nice downhill, beautiful looking shot. And there's the basket. But of course it's Winthrop, so it's not like you can just throw and without a care. There is an OB line. I think I saw the stakes there.
Yeah, hazard to the
Behind it.
right, hazard to the left, but not quite as close as some of the other holes. I think the one on the right's probably the one that's going to come into play a little bit more.
Very nice shot from Macy. She'll have maybe a little bit of an Anheuser putt. Haley with a lot more height, so that should end up to the left. She's
I
motioning
know.
it. Stop. Sit down.
Circle's edge. So this green always reminds me of like what the course designers would really love the mozzarella sticks to be, the little posts. It's like this is a natural version of what is on the MPO green.
Right. And this is a tough hole. You see the women throwing short. It's only 342 downhill, so they can all reach it. But I don't know if it's the wind or...
Let me give you my take. I think it's that the tree on the left, so the hazard on the right means you can't really turn it too much, and the tree on the left really means that you can't play it out wide and glide it back in. It really is that low ceiling straight shot, and you know, with the hazard there, it's just sketchy to throw.
Yeah, I know when I throw this hole, it just seems to ground out all the time. I say, throw higher. And I throw higher, and the same thing happens. So could be the prevailing winds as well, just don't seem to let the disc glide. Oh, and Owen hit the basket, hit the tree, almost looking for a rebound there, but
God, that's
didn't
my
quite
dream.
make it.
Ricochet birds, ricochet aces, I'm here for it.
Oh, and again it was short. That looks so good.
Another heartbreaker. I feel for her. It really is frustrating when you throw in good putts and they just drop right at the end.
Oh, and that was the opposite problem, a little too high. And you can see how the wind popped that up. She got it a little bit nose up into the wind.
A lot of metal on this hole for not to find ourselves with any birdies.
Yeah, it's tough putting into a headwind from the distance that these women had. So, you know, they all gave it a really good shot. But 16 just plays tougher than it should.
Now, pars all around, but let's look at the number just below that. Paige Pierce 6 down through 16 holes. Even 6 over and 1 over on the card. She's having her way with this field right now.
It's nice to see Paige playing like herself. The last month, I think, she's just not put in performances that she's capable of. And, you know, it must be very frustrating for her. And, you know, I don't know if she just needed a little bit of a break but kept playing. You know, it's hard for the players to take a break. But there's no other sport where players play every single weekend for, 40 in a row.
So, speaking of breaks, do not take a mental break on this hole if there's any of them.
Oh goodness, no! This is a terrifying hole.
249 feet. How could it be so scary?
249 feet downhill.
Yeah.
So I mean, you're just pulling out some kind of mid-range to throw this one, and it seems like there's a lot of room there, but the wind, the slope, the tree on the right it really favors the sider.
I mean, and let's not maybe mention the rethrow possibilities. If you do go out of bounds, true island hole, your rethrow. Actually, there's a drop zone this year for the FPO, a little bit shorter right in front of them.
I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah, there is a little bit of a shorter drop zone, but still similar shot and similar feeling for the island effect.
So, Paige has just dialed it in, I think. Oh, no, she goes... That looked like it was so soft out of her hand, and yet it just carried.
Nice and turning. So this is the one hole throughout the weekend we will see the pins change. This is the A pin. It's lefter, closer to the water, and closer to the hay bales. But rounds 2 and 3... Oh! That was awesome.
That was a very fortunate break
That
for
was.
Owen, and she could use a fortunate break.
At this point, couldn't agree more. Looks like they're all going to have longer than you want putts, considering that basket, you rim off, and it's a good chance it might even hop over those hay bales.
Absolutely. I would not be particularly tempted to go for it. Owen, she wanted to go for it, but her body would not let the disc go very high, would it?
Oh, wow. Dead tailwind.
Yeah, that was I'm going to throw it up in the air and look like I'm putting, but I'm not really putting kind of putt. Now that's a putt. But
you got to sting him in that tailwind, and it is scary to really give it a full go with that OB right there.
Yeah, you got to put it up high, and either putt it or don't.
Yes.
You just need to decide: are you going to hit metal?
Catches a little bit on the band there, but no damage done. Likely to have a set of threes. Which actually is probably not that common, honestly, to have no bogeys, no red on the scorecard.
Yeah, those are well-controlled shots. And it's actually good to see that the women weren't trying to put it right under the basket from the tee. That's just so hard to do. And look how tough the wind is.
It's the classic thing. You can't win the tournament on day one, but you can absolutely lose it. This is one of those holes where on day one, get the three, get out of there, and live to fight another day.
Absolutely. You're not going to be losing too many strokes to the field by getting a three.
That's going to bring us to 18. This is my third one for the day. One of the most iconic holes on the course. Par 5 for the FPO division, 647 feet, but it's treacherous all the way down, Elaine.
Well, it's quite a remarkable slope that you need to get your first drive onto. It sets up very well for sidearm. However, it doesn't sit up well for a sidearm because there's that huge tree that you've got to get around. So if you want to do sidearm, you either need to cook it or you need to have something pretty high. But the higher you put it, the harder it is to get in. Now, Macy the wind's looking good. So she is throwing that sort of low sidearm that raises.
Just stop.
And you just want it to.
Green is good.
Okay, it's looking like it's a favorable sidearm wind. The wind, of course, coming from a different direction on every hole.
So OB is going to be to the right and to the left the whole way, though, too.
Yes. Okay. So that sits.
It is a hold your breath hole.
You don't want it to roll, but sometimes it rolls to a better position.
Very true.
Paige with the backhand, as she's been really using her backhand all year. Just that passion again, probably. A little bit understable. Lands short of the OB/hazard.
It's okay, though. Again, par 5, so get
that
up.
Was so low.
Is going to find the out of bounds.
Yeah, that just never got the height. I mean, you do want to keep it fairly low, but Owen's just been having trouble today.
Very true.
She's usually so good on the sidearms. It's just struggling a little bit about how much turn to put. And that looks like a great
no,
it's
a little
out of
too
bounds.
turned. There is that OB up on that right side.
And you can't see it.
Yep, it's very true.
So hard. So you have to practice holes like this so much to really have a feeling. And you can't let it drift left because...
Speaking of, 3 OBs already on the same hole. Different people, but still.
So Paige does not want to join the party.
Yes. She's like, okay, this is not for me.
Okay, that's looking good. If that sits down.
I love the slow disc. Just throw the putter up there. That's probably her Crystal Fierce. Put it up into a good spot. Chip it over here. She's going game plan on this hole.
Just go for a 4. A 3 is almost impossible. Just go for a 4.
You can really see like the distance advantage pay off when she can throw those slow speeds. You're not forced to throw the fairway to get up to the top of the hill. It really is a benefit.
Yeah, when you can put that much torque on a disc, things get a little easier.
Yes. Owen ready to throw again. Going back to the Rock 3 well. She does love it.
And that
Well played.
slithers nicely towards the basket.
Quality there. The green is so tricky because there is a little bit of a safety on the bottom. Those bricks, it's unlikely to slide all the way to the water, but the hill is so steep. You have to play it way high up because it is going to run.
Yeah, you need to match the tilt of your disc to the slope. So you want the disc to be exactly the angle of the slope when it hits. And as you're saying, Corey,
No, Haley
yeah,
cuts it a little short on that little sidearm turnover. That's double OB. This is not going to be a small number on this one.
so again, Macy's showing it's high, but it's way to the right, and
Yeah.
that catches nicely on that. I don't even think it got to the little wall.
Yeah. Now she's got a nice little footing on there. Haley, really, she's really would like to make this one. Oh, never mind. Oh. Interesting little layup there.
I think she went through the tree branch.
Yeah. Good stick. Is going to find herself with the double bogey. 7, though. Obviously not what you want, coming off the last hole. It can really take the last hole is so impactful. You birdie it, you could shot 5 over, but I birdied the last hole, and you're feeling kind of good. And you could shoot a pretty good round like Haley just did and take a big number on the last, and it could sour your whole day.
It really deflates you when you can't finish.
Exactly.
And it's a tricky hole, but on the other hand, no one's forcing you to go aggressive. You can just go safe, and there's a lot of different ways to get a birdie. I think all these women are fully capable of
Owen playing a little defense.
all these women are capable of getting a 4 if they just play it up the middle and don't try and just bite off more than they can handle.
Owen she didn't have a great round, +6. She was expecting a little bit better, but all smiles and just a joy to be around. I can't get enough Owen. So that is going to do it for round 1. Let's take a look at our leaderboard. Paige Pierce, 7 down, 5 clear of the field. Valerie and Heather rounding out that 2 down squad.
We'll have to watch tomorrow. Everyone, tune in tomorrow for our post-production coverage
Yep.
of the Women's Disc Golf Championships.